Okay, in this part, we're going to talk about creating tech-stack.md, which is one of the major files we need to actually do our build in Claude. Now, tech-stack.md is a very important file because you really do not want to leave your tech stack to the choice of the large language model. So as we said before, we have 4 files that we need in order to build out our application in Claude Code. Those are Claude.md, requirements.md, tech-stack.md, and designnotes.md. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use Claude Desktop and Sonnet 4.5 to create the tech-stack.md. So one of the beautiful things about Sonnet, which some people complain about, is that it really goes way too deep into things. It really likes to build out, and it's very verbose about what it wants to do. And in some cases, that's actually really good because it gives you the opportunity to review what Claude has come up with. So we're going to work on tech-stack.md, and what we're going to do is we're going to prompt Claude Desktop to create this tech stack. So this tech stack is going to include Ubuntu as the operating system, MariaDB as the database, or it might be MySQL when we're actually doing the initial development. We're going to use PHP as our scripting language. Now, in this case, we're not going to have any AI initially into it, so we're going to skip the OpenAI, the Google, and the Anthropic SDKs. But we are going to be using the HTMX framework along with Alpine.JS and Bootstrap 3.5. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a conversation with Claude Code and with Claude Desktop. And we're going to work with Claude Desktop to come up with a tech-stack.md file for our project. So I'm going to go into Claude Desktop and I'm going to say, I'm creating an application, a to-do list tracker application, and I want to deploy it on a traditional LAMP stack. With Ubuntu 2403 as the OS. I want to use Bootstrap 5.3 with HTMX with the latest version of HTMX and Alpine.JS. The Bootstrap design will come from the website, and I got to actually look it up right now. It's Get Bootstrap, but we want to go to getbootstrap.com. All right, so this is Bootstrap 5.3, and we're going to use getbootstrap.com. Bootstrap also uses jQuery. Please help me write a tech-stack.md file to be used with Claude Code to build out this application. All right, so now we're going to ask Claude, and we're using Sonnet 4.5 mostly because I ran out of Opus tokens. I almost always prefer to use Opus for something like this. All right, let's see what we got. We have a to-do list tracker, which is a full-featured task management built on a traditional LAMP stack. The operating system is going to be Ubuntu 2404 LTS. Actually, okay, it said I asked it for Ubuntu 2403. It corrected me that it's 2404. We're going to use Apache web server with mod rewrite enabled, htaccess support enabled, and virtual host configured. So this would be how you would be deploying it if you were going to deploy it on a low-cost website. Okay, our database is going to be MySQL 8.0 or MariaDB 10.11. We're actually going to be using MariaDB. We're going to use the InnoDB storage engine, and then we're using UTF-8 character set. Okay, so our backend language is PHP 8.3. We're going to need PDO MySQL. We're going to need JSON. We're going to need MB string. We're going to need all this stuff. Okay, for our CSS framework, we're using Bootstrap 5.3. For our JavaScript libraries, we're using jQuery 3.7, HTMX 2, the latest version, and then Alpine.JS. And this creates a structure of the files that we're going to be using. This is going to talk, tech-stack is also talking about our database schema and a lot of other stuff. So this is our fairly decent tech-stack.md that we're going to use. So I am going to download it as text, and we're going to put it in our file, our directory as tech-stack.md. Okay, so now that we have tech-stack.md created, we can go on to the next step, which is to create our requirements doc and our design notes. So at this point, we now have 2 of the 4 files that we need to get moving. So if you're finding this helpful so far, make sure you hit like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. So let's get on to the next lesson.